Welcome to the Highly Effective Man podcast, hosted by former Navy SEAL turned life and fitness coach. I'm your host, JP Bolwahnn. This podcast is your resource for unlocking the healthiest, most productive, and highly effective man within you. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Highly Effective Man podcast, where we focus on fitness, mindset, nutrition, and productivity to help busy men maximize their potential. I'm JP Bolwahnn, and today we're diving into a topic that hits home for many of us as we get older: strength training after 35. Specifically, we're going to talk about how you can build muscle, stay fit, and most importantly, avoid injury while doing it. I'm going to walk you through some of the key principles that I've learned throughout my years as a Navy SEAL, competitive athlete, and now a life and fitness coach who coaches people online. And I'm also going to break down how you can tailor your strength training program to suit your body as it changes with age, and how to maximize gains without beating yourself up in the gym. All right, let's get into it. First, let's talk about why training over 35 is different. When you're in your 20s, your body can often recover faster, it can handle more volume, and it can bounce back from injury much quicker, right? But as we age, things change. Our hormones change, our recovery time increases, and let's face it, we're just more prone to injury if we're not smart about how we're training. Now, does this mean that you can't build muscle after 35? Absolutely not. But it does mean that we need to be strategic about how we're doing it. We're not just going into the gym to punish our body, all right? You're going in there to strengthen it for the long haul, right? Thinking about, where do I want to be when I'm 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, all right? And what I'm going to share with you are a few key principles that will help you get there. Number one is we need to prioritize recovery. Recovery isn't about just taking rest days. It's about setting your body up to repair and grow stronger in between those training sessions. You know, I always tell my clients about what my weightlifting coach would say. He said, there's no such thing as overtraining. There's only under recovery. All right. So to prioritize recovery, you need to focus on three things: sleep, nutrition, and active recovery. When it comes to sleep, we're aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, because it's during our sleep where our body produces the hormones necessary to build muscle and to repair the damage that we've done from the stresses that we put it under when we were working out. Nutrition, make sure you're fueling your body. We have to make sure we're fueling our body with enough protein, healthy fats, and carbs to support muscle repair. All right, and you can't forget about hydration, because that's key for keeping the muscles supple and less prone to injury. And then there's active recovery. This includes things like, stretching, foam rolling, myofascial release, going on walks or, light swims, anything that, is just light movement to, on your days off, to keep the body moving, keep the joints moving, keep the muscles pliable, and the blood flowing. And this is just going to help reduce soreness. So, when we're over 35, this is not an option. This is absolutely necessary. Principle number 2 is to focus on your form, not the ego. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes I see people making is trying to lift like they're still in their 20s, right? They see kids lifting these big weights and they're like, oh, I still got it, right? But they load up the bar with heavy weights and then their form breaks down. And then this leads to injury. Now, trust me, I've seen it way too many times. I've been a victim to this myself. But at this stage, it's crucial to master your form. All right, that means controlling the weight, focusing on the muscle that you're working, and avoiding, jerky, uncontrolled movements that could lead to injury. The weight you lift is secondary to how well you lift it. And I often recommend people start with lighter weights or even body weight exercises until you nail down that form. Okay? Because once you've got the movement patterns down, now you can gradually increase the load without risking injury. All right? You want to make sure that you have the mechanics before you start increasing the intensity. Principle number 3 is to make sure you're incorporating some type of mobility or flexibility work, right? Because as we age, it just becomes more important. Your muscles and joints, they might feel tighter, and that can limit the range of motion that you have, which is a setup for injury if you're not careful. So one of the things that I like to do is incorporate mobility drills into like warm-ups, cool downs, things like dynamic stretches, hip openers, shoulder mobility work. These are all key to maintaining joint health and preventing stiffness. If you're sitting at a desk all day or doing some type of repetitive movement, you need to make sure that you're stretching those muscles out and getting them mobile again. Now, it's important to do this before you lift. Just spend 10 to 15 minutes of doing some type of mobility work that targets those areas that you're going to train. Now, not only is this going to help you prevent injury, but it's also going to enhance your performance. Principle number 4 is that we want to do full body workouts and use compound movements to maximize our gains and our time. All right, at 35 and beyond, you want to train smarter, not harder. Okay, one of the best ways to do this is by focusing on full body workouts and compound movements. You want to make sure that you're incorporating exercises that work multiple muscles like squats, deadlifts, bent over rows, pull-ups, bench presses. And why is this important? Because these movements are going to give you your best bang for your buck. Okay? You're not just working out, you're not only working more muscles, but you're also burning more calories and you're improving your functional strength all at one shot. Okay? Plus, they help you build muscle without having to spend hours in the gym doing isolated exercises like your typical bro split that you might find online. All right? Principle number 5, listen to your body. Finally, and this might be the most important point, is listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, don't push through the pain. Pain is your body's way of telling you that something's wrong. Address it before it becomes an injury that sidelines you for weeks or even months down the road. Now, this doesn't mean that you should avoid discomfort, right? Because strength training is supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to be hard. But learn to recognize the difference between muscle fatigue and joint or tendon pain. It's better to dial it back, adjust your technique, or switch up your exercises than to force it and risk a long-term injury or damage. And then number 7, I would say that there's, as you age, it's super important to get your hormones checked. All right. We live in a day and age where this is possible. You can go online, talk to doctors, you can get your blood checked. And I think it's something that's often overlooked, but incredibly important. Because as we age, our hormone levels, particularly testosterone, they naturally decline. And this can have a huge impact on your energy levels and your ability to build muscle and your recovery time. So if you're feeling unusually fatigued, not seeing progress in the gym, or struggling to lose fat despite doing everything right, it might be time to check in with a doctor. Okay, get your hormones tested. Optimizing your hormones can help you maximize your strength training results and overall health. Okay, but I would say even a bigger benefit to this is that regular checkups with your doctor can help catch any potential health issues early, right? Whether they be hormone imbalances, joint problems, cardiovascular health, keeping tabs on your blood sugar levels or your cholesterol. Okay, this ensures that you're not just building muscle, but you're doing it safely and sustainably for the long term. And once again, if you don't know where to go or you don't know where to start with that, I'll leave a resource in the show notes. It's Opt Health. Those guys, these guys are great. They work with guys all over the nation, and they will help get you squared away. So how do we structure this training? All right, so to wrap it up, let's talk about how we're going to structure your training for muscle growth and injury prevention after 35. Number one, you're going to train 2 to 4 times a week, full body workouts, compound movements, because this allows you to balance intensity with recovery. Like I said, include compound movements. You want to prioritize exercises like squats, deadlifts, rows, overhead presses, cleans, snatches. We want to incorporate mobility and flexibility work. Spend 10 to 15 minutes before or after your workout, doing some type of mobility or stretching. You want to use progressive overload as well. Okay, so gradually increase the weight or the resistance, but I'll always prioritize form over the amount of weight you're lifting, right? If you've been a part of any of my challenges online, you can see that early in the month, the volume's kind of low, and then as we progress through the month, the volume starts to increase. That's an example of progressive overload. You want to prioritize recovery. Sleep, nutrition, and active recovery are your friends. Use them wisely. And then finally, check in with your doctor. Get your hormones checked and monitor your overall health to make sure you're not missing any underlying issues. I would recommend every 3 to 6 months getting a check-in with your doctor, getting your blood checked, all of that, especially if you're in your 40s and your 50s, because you need to stay on top of it, because everything that we did in our 20s and 30s, that's when health issues start to pop up, 40s and 50s, guaranteed. All right. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode on strength training after 35. So the bottom line is this, okay? You can absolutely build muscle and stay strong well into your 40s and 50s, okay? And even beyond that. All right, but it's all about training smarter, not just harder. Okay, if you found today's episode helpful, make sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. I'd also love to hear what topics you want me to cover next. And remember that being highly effective isn't about how fast you go, but it's about staying in the game for the long haul. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Stay strong. Stay smart, stay effective. Let's go. Thank you for listening to the Highly Effective Man podcast. If you enjoyed or learned something on this episode, do me a favor and share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. And one last thing, if you want to work with me as your coach to help you get fit, be more productive, and in general, just be the most effective version of yourself, head over to my site, higherlevelcoaching.co. Once again, that's higherlevelcoaching.co. and schedule a call with me there. Thank you again. Let's go.